We're on the lunch break on the third and final day of questioning of the undercover police officer Mark Jenner, who, using the identity Mark Cassidy, infiltrated the Colin Roach Centre, Anti-Fascist Action, the Independent Working Class Association, numerous other campaigns for police accountability and justice between the years of 1995 and 2000. He also deceived a woman called Alison into a 5-year relationship whilst being married to a woman called S and having children with her. I'm joined by Mary Davis, Professor Mary Davis, noted Marxist historian, and a friend of Alison's. We've heard a lot from Mark Jenner this morning. It ended with David Barr KC, the counsel to the inquiry, asking him if he still maintained his denial in his leaving letter that he was not a callous, evil bastard. He admitted that he was a callous, evil bastard.
No, cunning, evil bastard.
Sorry, cunning, evil bastard. Yes, sorry. What did you make of what he had to say?
He was a cunning, evil bastard.
I mean, he really was.
Stop. I mean, you can't believe a single word he says at all. Judging from yesterday and taking it on today, what he wanted to do today was to portray himself as having a little bit of humanity, and I didn't believe a word of that either. There's no basis for believing anything he says. He's managed to, he's a professional liar. Obviously, for the past 5 years, he's been a professional liar. You don't just remove yourself from that kind of persona who's deceived 2 women, his wife and Alison, obnoxiously and in a vile way. And he's clever at it. That's the worst thing. He's not a clever man. He's a very right-wing, nasty man who he's a racist bigot. But he's managed to hide that by his undercover persona. So he's a clever liar in that sense, but a horrible man, absolutely vile man, and nobody should trust a single word he says. Certainly not in this, not during this deployment, but not in this evidence, because why would he tell the truth now? And this sham attempt to portray himself, he's obviously been advised to show a little bit more of a human character. He must have been advised by somebody who's been listening to this and saying, you are coming across as a cunning, evil bastard. So perhaps show that you did care a little bit. That's it. I don't buy any of it.
Yeah, there has been a definite change in tone overnight.
Definitely.
Everybody has been saying we feel he must have been coached. Someone's had a word with him. But one thing that he's one of his big changes is he's not contesting very much. There are things he is contesting, but largely he's saying, "Oh yes, if Alison said that, yes, that must have happened like that." This is something we've seen from previous undercover officers as well, not wanting to get into the weeds of the detail.
No, but he's obviously not only a kind of evil bastard, but he's putting number one first. So he could have extricated himself earlier, as has been clearly shown, but didn't want to. He was having a nice time. I mean, nice meal cooked, nice everything. I know the family and I know how lovely they are. I mean, what a nice life.
Yeah, I mean, he admits, I enjoyed it. It was very nice for me. It was an enjoyable time.
Exactly. The misogyny is there and it runs deep. A racist misogynist who's behaved appallingly to his wife and his children. My God, those poor kids.
Yeah, no, appalling. I mean, genuinely, like every time we see one of these undercover officers give evidence, we always remark of each other, gosh, he's the worst one yet. And every time I think, oh, that won't happen again. But once again, I'm left feeling this is the worst one yet.
Do you think that?
I do think that. I think partially because, as you say, he's lying a lot, but there's a certain amount of truth to him where the callousness really comes through. That he was only looking out for number one, and he's still only looking out for number one. And I think that's very obvious to anybody watching.
What, number one?
He's always looking out for number one.
Oh, yes, definitely. I thought he meant he was the number one undercover officer because Bob Lambert seemed to think he was very wonderful.
Yes, yeah.
And he obviously did his job very well. And anybody who did that job very well is obviously a supreme liar of the best sort, of the worst sort. I mean, actually. So no, I don't buy any of this. And those letters. I thought that they were getting to the root of that. The language used was he coached on that, even writing those letters. I hope that will be exposed because he picked up on certain phrases that were used, which were obviously, possibly you've seen used before. I don't know about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it very much feels like a template. Very much feels like a template that has come largely from Bob Lambert. We heard a lot about Bob Lambert today. There were a lot of references that the fact that he knew. We saw documents that he had written where he was basically writing in code about living with activists, which was basically meant the cohabiting. It seems like Mark Jenner is quite happy to throw Bob Lambert under a bus in this process. Bob Lambert will be returning in June or July to give evidence as a manager. One of the things that came out of that particular document about the cohabitation was that this should be considered an alternative living arrangement for future undercover deployments. And I think this really goes to the heart of what we're seeing from Lambert, that not only was it's not a matter of him turning a blind eye to undercover officers deceiving women into relationships, but rather him seeing it as an effective tactic.
Exactly. And this bloke obviously proves, I don't know if he was the first one, but I don't know about that. But 5 years is a long time. But I tell you, the thing that really annoys me most is that these men have managed to reinvent themselves. They've no charge. Bob Lambert, I know what happened to him. He got a job at London Metropolitan University, which I used to work there. So I cannot believe that this man has deceived everybody, and actually he's now been he's now lauded. I mean, why aren't these people put in prison? Why aren't they prosecuted? I know that this is what gets me. The secret state protects itself, and this is the secret state that is just absolutely an element, a little element that has been revealed, but what lies further and the protection that these people get, that's what really, everything bugs me. I mean, obviously the deception, the misogyny, he's a racist bigot, he's bordering on fascist. I mean, the first day that I had, when apparently they never ever discussed the first inquiry, they never discussed even though they never heard about it, even though their paper of notes, the Daily Mail, had murder. And I mean, you can't believe a word these people say, and yet they've got away with it. They're still there. They're not in prison. And they bloody well should be.
I agree entirely. Well, I mean, it's interesting you say about the way they've been protected and what they've gone on to do. He mentioned that many of the other officers who knew about his relationship with Alison are officers that have full anonymity at this inquiry. It's not just that we don't know their real names, we don't know their cover names, but also you can't refer to their nominals in any of the evidence. Now, we were sort of led to believe by the chair that the reason for this was the area of deployment that they went into, that somehow there was something particularly dangerous about that. But also there's a belief amongst many of us that the reason is because of what these men went on to do. Now, how many of these we know that SDS officers were considered an elite within Special Branch. Many of them went on to lead Special Branch. How many went on to senior positions in other places? Chief constables, who knows?
I don't know, you don't know, but the thing that strikes me, because I live in Hackney, I know what they're talking about. I know some of the people they're talking about, is that none of the organisations that they infiltrated posed any sort of any threat to the state. What he's been doing all the time is looking into all of those organisations in terms of their exposure of police violence. But the Hackney police station is still the most racist police station. So nothing has changed. And so the undercover, it seems to me, just from him, you'll know better about the others, but they're not, all they're doing is protecting themselves through all of this, to try to get into all these campaigns which were exposing police violence, exposing deaths in police custody. That's what they want to shut down, and so it's them looking after themselves. So this is the aspect, as I say, at the state. You know, you've got the state's got its repressive apparatus, it's got its ideological apparatus, but it's got the secret state at the heart of it all. And the secret state, obviously, this is the most secret. Well, it's not the most secret. We don't know all the secrets.
That's true.
This is an element of that secrecy coming out. I mean, nobody can tell me that the Colin Rochans really did pose an amazing challenge to the British state and the British government. It didn't.
But it embarrassed the police.
It embarrassed the police. Exactly. That's the point.
And it was this desire to protect the reputation of the police.
However, there's one thing that came out of this, and that is that in the middle of all of this, doing all of this, they did actually, or he did, infiltrate a union, UCAT.
Yes.
And that the whole blacklisting element of this is something that was a threat. Or it was a threat, at least, to British capitalism, that's for sure. So I think that he had a little bit, but it came out yesterday with the Brian Higgins thing. And I know about this, and of course I know Dave Smith and the book, the Blacklisting, his excellent book. And so there was the fact is that he had his finger in all the little pies, and he was giving nuggets throughout. The fact he was actually the secretary of the builders.
The building workers group, yeah, and also was secretary of the Brian Higgins Defence Campaign.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Brian Higgins is a legend. So these did pose a threat, but in the main, what he was, and that, again, you don't even know whether or not that wasn't tangential. That was deliberate. It must have been. He didn't do that. He didn't have to join UCAT. He didn't have to join the union.
No. I mean, we were led to believe by different officers that what was their main target, what was a side target, something they came across. We can't believe anything they say. We can just say what they did and who they infiltrated, and that was their deployment. That's what they did. There's no such thing as collateral intrusion.
So, but do you think that he stands out as being particularly? I'm going to say effective, but you know what I mean. Is he one of the worst? I
think the thing which makes him particularly bad and makes him stand out is the length of the time that he cohabited with Alison, the depth and the of the relationship, the fact they lived together for so long, and that they went to such a level. Other officers did everything that he did, maybe not for such a long period of time. The thing which makes him stand out, I think, like in the here and now for me, is the fact that he's saying. He said that he loved her and all this kind of stuff, but mostly he said he was looking out for himself. It was the job. I don't believe a word of he said about him caring in any way. No. I don't care about his emotions anyway. But he has been quite honest about the fact that it was a job. That's what it for.
I do care about these women. I'm one of the directors of Police Spies Out of Lies, and their stories are just appalling. And I so feel for them that level of deception, and especially. Oh, thank goodness Alison did bear a child by him. Just what I know some of the women did. That is it's so disgusting that it makes you want to vomit, frankly. But
it really did.
And the fact that somehow or other this has just seemed the collateral damage. These are real women whose lives, including S's life, have been shattered by this.
Yeah.
Thank goodness some of them have managed to, and with the support and everything, have been managed to sort of rebuild themselves. He took comfort in that, isn't he? Oh, Alison's had a nice husband now and got 2 children. Well, I know her children; they're lovely, but he can't. He feels okay about that.
Yeah, I find that was a bit obscene. I would say, though, one of the great things is that the reason why we're here, the reason why men like Mark Jenner are having to answer for what they did
is because of the campaign.
Yes, 100%.
And if it wasn't for the campaign, nothing would have been revealed. It's the same with the blacklisting. Same thing. So we've got to give,
and particularly the detective work of Alison herself. The way that the level of detail of the evidencing of everything that happened. It's been like the detail of it. You'll know. As I know that it's so extensive that he's been left with no choice than just to go, well, if she said it, then it happened. And that's not just him being able to say, oh well, whatever she wants. It's also that if she said it happened, then she's got the receipts because she's got the receipts.
Yes, and I'm not hopeful. In a way, these inquiries are a very clever deployment by the state to ensure that people can have their day in court, but nothing happens. That's why we do need to have groups like the Blacklist, like Police Spies Out of Lies, like all of this to maintain the pressure. And I just hope that. I just hope this is taken up much more. I'm glad that the ITV programme was made, all of that, but it just needs greater exposure. And the only paper that's reporting on it is the Morning Star, and
the Guardian.
To a limited extent.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And the Morning Star doesn't have the readership it should. Overall, what's your oh, very good. What's your overriding impression of this inquiry? Have you been to any other days?
No, I
No, it's your
haven't.
first time here
did,
today.
I have followed some of it
Yeah.
online, and of course, Dave Smith does. He does let us read quite a lot, and I sort of feel like. But what's my impression of it is that. Look, I'm a historian. I've seen the way, and I'm a Labour historian, and that I know the way in which the state has worked. We're celebrating, we're commemorating 100 years of the general strike next year. Now, if I were to count up the number of inquiries and special commissions that have tried to head off greater publicity for the miners, for every bit of every trade union, anything to become a popular or could be have seeped the sort of ideological stranglehold. It's a tactic. So I'm glad that it's happening. Of course I am. But I do know that this is the British state's very clever. I mean, if it wasn't so clever, then we could do something about it. But this is a tactic that is used. So if you ask me, where do I think this is going? The answer is I don't know. It's up to us. It's up to us to make the biggest amount of publicity, because it will otherwise be buried. It will be, it will be yesterday's news when it's finished. And anyway, it's been going on a hell of a long time, hasn't it?
I mean, 10 years of inquiry and nearly 11. It's been over 15 years since we first went public with Mark Kennedy. It's been 25 years for Alison to get to this point. I mean, none of this stuff is quick. But if it was easy, they wouldn't call it struggle.
You're quite right. Dare to struggle, dare to win.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining me, comrade. Is there anything else you'd like to add? All right, thanks for joining us. We'll be back for further questions. There's Bar said there'll be another hour of questions before we go to see if there's any further questions from anybody else for Jenna this afternoon. I've just seen there's some comments. It says there isn't enough media about this, so they've basically prostituted women without their consent. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's literally what the situation is. Yeah, no, that's the only comment that says anything. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we'll see. We'll do another video in the next break. Probably it'll be the gap between the normal questions and further questions. Bye for now.